So here we are in Alana and Stephen's home in Ireland, and I'd like to introduce you to them. They're actually living in Sweden now, and I'd like to ask you, why Sweden?
Well, we've been living in this home here in Connemara for the last 14 years. It was a house we bought and built on with lots of love and attention over years, and planted trees, and we felt very rooted in this place. And I certainly would have done anything in the world just to live here, to be able to live where I felt very strongly as my home, and I do feel still my roots are here. But we felt we were stagnating a little bit, and that we had a lot more potential than we were fulfilling. And when you ask why Sweden, it was that Stephen had worked in Stockholm 6 years ago.
Yeah, so having worked in Sweden before, the attraction of Sweden was that it's a high-tech startup location. So lots of small businesses with good ideas, not unlike Dublin. But we wanted to go to some place where there was something new for everybody in the family.
We wanted the kids to learn a different language for a start,
we just weren't being challenged enough here. I think in some ways, I tell my friends that I tried to retire too early and realised that retirement didn't suit me. So even though I had a job in Clifton, it really wasn't challenging enough.
You were very unhappy.
So Alana was looking to change as well.
So Alana, what was it that you needed to do or were wanting to do, and also what was happening that caused the move to happen?
Well, I think for a start it was very much about not feeling really challenged or fulfilled. Personally, I had started developing my voice a lot here, and I knew of a very good teacher in Stockholm, and that was, one ingredient in Stockholm as well.
And this was for singing?
Yes, opera singing really. And that was becoming more and more important in my life. I mean, I'm a visual artist, first and foremost, but I suppose I don't know where all this is going, but I think I would like to use my music and my visual art together in some way. And going to Sweden really seemed to be, and has been very important in that, because I've been now at opera school for the last year.
I think for me, obviously like Alana says, the job wasn't very challenging. But on top of that, with the change in the economy, things were quite depressing and negative here, and that just doesn't suit my mentality. So I was looking for a change, and Stockholm, of course, is a wonderful city for technology startups, and I'm interested in technology startups. And so it became a second reason to go. There was a reason to leave here, and there was a reason to go there. So I think that's where the driving forces came.
But I think, it wasn't that, life was terrible, and, life was absolutely okay. It was really good on a lot of levels, but, I suppose we just didn't feel that we were living life to the full potential. And Sweden emerged gradually as a place that we felt, was somewhere we wanted to go for. Initially 6 months was our aim.
Yeah. And then 12 months, and then 18 months. So
and now we just don't know.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting. It's a very exciting project.
Yeah.
So how did you go about setting off this project?
Well, I think initially it just seemed to be such an overwhelming task to get ourselves from Moyard to Stockholm. It was no end of obstacles, and we didn't know which to tackle first. This is a beautiful home, but it seemed to be an obstacle in the beginning, because we felt, we needed to rent it, then we needed to find a home in Stockholm, we needed to find a job, and we needed to find a school for the 3 kids, and a car really was pretty essential. And in the end, after doing a bit of work with you, a lot of that happened in 1 week.
Yeah, I think exactly overcoming the obstacles. I suppose for us, we had excuses, which were the obstacles effectively. I mean, they were legitimate obstacles. I mean, each of the issues you raised. But I think by going to you, Carol, we were in a position to understand that those were only excuses. I mean, why couldn't we solve them? It was within our capability to solve those, and that's what we did.
What was it that we were doing and we were working on together that caused that to happen?
Well, the first thing, the very important work we did with you was on our breakthrough retreat, and we worked through our core values. And Stephen and I felt, I mean, obviously there's a lot of discussion going on around these big changes in life, and we felt that we were really mostly on different pages. But when we wrote out and worked through our core values, we found that really we were singing from the same hymn sheet. Our core values were very, very similar. And from there, we were able to set goals, clear goals, and develop a strategy by which to work through them.
Yeah, I think it put a structure in place for us. You know, there was a methodology that we were able to apply to solving the problems. And I think the key thing for me was to understand that a lot of the barriers, or the things that were blocking us, were just excuses, and it was up to us to overcome those excuses. I mean, we had the ability to do that, and you know, just to set our minds to it, to believe in ourselves, and to make things happen. That for me was the key.
So just suppose somebody is having a look at my website and watching this film. What are the sort of things that you would like to say in a nutshell about working perhaps with me? I know, Alana, you actually came on a Live with Intention course as well, which was a 2-day course. So was there anything in that as well that might have been useful to you?
Well, for me, the Live with Intention course gave me tools that I'm using really every day. And I think for me the most important one really was the ability to act as if it is going to happen. So what you have your goal, and rather than waiting for the right factors to line up, you start straight away acting as if that goal is happening. So you're already working towards it. That's a really important tool, I think, that I've learned. But in terms of recommendation to someone else, I would just say to go for it, because like our lives, it's not like we were on death row or our lives were really, really awful. I mean, our lives were really lovely and fine. It was great, but we weren't living to our full potential. And I just think things can be so exciting, and things really are very exciting for us now. We just don't know what the next year is going to bring, or the year after. But I think sometimes it can be very hard to bring about all that change on your own, and to what you gave us with all your skills is another pair of eyes and another pair of ears, and that sometimes we need that. I think we all need that help, another person's viewpoint to look in from outside to actually help you implement that change.
Yeah, I mean, they say, somebody said the harder I work, the luckier I get, and there was certainly an element of that involved in what we did. I mean, it felt like luck, but we were working hard at it, and that I think that makes a difference. And what we learned through doing the course is that you can't just sit back and wait for these things to happen, because they're not going to happen on their own accord. You've got to go out and make them happen.
So thank you, Alana and Stephen, for allowing me to work with you. It's been such a privilege, and I'm very excited for both of you. I'm sure we'll work together in the future, and thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.